Syria addresses two messages to the chairman of the UN Security Council and the UN Secretary General to the effect that 1,000 factories in Aleppo have been robbed and transferred to Turkey with the knowledge of the Turkish government. Iran, Russia and China reiterate support for any efforts that precipitate a peaceful solution to the crisis in Syria. Heavy blizzards block some roads in most Syrian governorates. Good afternoon and welcome to our news for today. The Foreign and Expatriates Ministry has stressed that robbing 1,000 factories in Aleppo and transferring them to Turkey with the full knowledge and facilitation of the Turkish government is considered an illegal act that amounts to piracy and an aggression that targets the Syrians' means of livelihood and economic life. This was included in the ministry's two identical letters addressed today to the chairman of the UN Security Council and the UN Secretary General. The ministry affirmed that such act proves the greed and role of sabotage Turkey plays in the Syrian crisis and its bad intentions towards the Syrian people. It is also an evidence to Turkey's false allegations of keenness on the Syrians and the basic requirements of their lives. The ministry branded such practices as immoral and flagrant violation of the principles of good neighborliness and non-interference in states' internal affairs. Such practices, the ministry affirmed, are a direct contribution to a cross-border crime and acts of piracy which demands an international reaction proportionate with the bulk of damage it has inflicted on the Syrian people and their economic and commercial resources. Such practices, the letters added, require from the Security Council to shoulder its responsibilities and undertakings in terms of confronting terrorism and safeguarding international peace and security. The ministry called on the UN Security Council and the UN Secretary General to openly condemn such terrorist acts and take whatever necessary measures to bring to account their preparation and those who stand behind them. The ministry also called for legal measures to be taken against the Turkish government to compel it to return those stolen properties to their owners and pay compensations for those who have been harmed by such acts in accordance with the rulings of international law, to compel them to immediately stop repeating such practices now and in the future. Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi has expressed in a telephone conversation with the Foreign and Expatriates Minister Walid al-Muallim his thanks over the efforts exerted by Syrian officials to release the Iranian visitors kidnapped in Syria. The two sides referred to the developments in Syria and the aspects of the political program raised by President Bashar al-Assad to solve the crisis. On his part, al-Muallim expressed satisfaction over the results of the efforts exerted to release the Iranian visitors, considering the steps taken in this respect as being part of the brotherly relations between the two countries. On the other hand, Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi has said reaching a solution to the crisis in Syria is a priority in the region. He added that all concerned parties may reach a solution to the crisis as soon as possible and in a way that prevents foreign intervention. In a statement published by the Middle East news agency, Salehi pointed out that the purpose of his current visit to Egypt is to discuss bilateral relations and major regional issues, particularly the situation in Syria. He affirmed that the Middle East region is able to run its own affairs and needs no foreign intervention. Salehi pointed out that the West doesn't wish this region any good, as previous historical events indicate. The Russian Foreign Ministry has announced that the Russian stand towards the crisis in Syria has not changed, namely that the Syrians alone are entitled to decide the subsequent development in their country, reiterating Russia's stand to contribute to the beginning of a dialogue between the government and the opposition in Syria. The Russian Foreign Ministry's spokesman Alexander Lukashevich said, "All foreign players should double efforts in order to create the appropriate circumstances to start a national dialogue without any preconditions and in full harmony with the Geneva Accord." Commenting on the American State Department spokeswoman's statement about the intention to use the tripartite meeting on Syria to be held in Geneva tomorrow between the Russian and U.S. representatives and the UN envoy to Syria Al-Akhdar al-Ibrahimi as an additional mechanism to pressure Syria and its leadership, Lukashevich said the Russian Foreign Ministry had published in a special comment yesterday the Russian visualization of the objectives of the upcoming round of the tripartite consultations in Geneva. He repeated his words that the Russian stand remains without any change. The Russian President's Special Envoy for Middle Eastern Affairs, Deputy Foreign Minister Mikhail Bogdanov, has said that sending Patriot missile systems to Turkey triggers Russia's concern. Bogdanov added that the meeting will be held in Moscow today with the Turkish Foreign Minister's First Deputy Fridon Sinirlioglu, during which all aspects of solving the crisis in Syria will be discussed. He added that this meeting is not held in connection with the ongoing dispatch of Patriot missile systems to Turkey, which is a source of worry for Moscow, as such meetings are regularly held, and the most recent of which took place in Ankara a month ago. China has expressed hope that tripartite meeting due to be held in Geneva tomorrow by the Russian and American representatives and Al-Akhdar al-Ibrahimi would contribute to a political solution to the crisis in Syria. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hong Li has been quoted as commenting in a press conference on the imminent meeting, saying his country supports any effort that would speed up a political solution to the crisis, calling on all concerned parties to abide by what has been agreed upon by the world community, particularly the Geneva Statement, for the sake of reaching a just and peaceful solution to the crisis. Li also voiced support for al-Ibrahimi's mediation efforts. Media sources confirmed that an explosion took place in central Tel Aviv. The sources confirmed that the blast occurred near a parked bus, which led to many injuries. In Iraq, 9 people were killed and 17 others were injured as a result of terrorist attacks in Baghdad, Baqouba and Diyala. Iraqi sources asserted that 3 people were killed and 11 others were injured by a bomb car explosion near a police station north of Baghdad, and in Baqouba, 6 people were killed, including officers, and 6 others were injured by various attacks, while 2 people were killed and a third was wounded in a roadside bomb that targeted Al-Muqtadiyah, east of Baqouba. Heavy blizzards have fallen in major Syrian governorates, particularly Damascus suburbs and Quneitra governorates, where snow rose more than 1 meter high. In Hama governorate, the snow was 52 centimeters thick, in Al-Rasafa and in Al-Suwaida 50 centimeters. Some roads were blocked by the snow in the governorates of Damascus suburbs, Homs, Hama and Suwaida. With this, we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more news about Syria and the region, and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Vani Gunjian after a short break.